This project is dedicated to Sunil Karwar Kaka, the person who enlightened me about the village that is Hatkarwadi. Title and description. This thesis project strives to mitigate the periodic migration in a relatively small settlement of Hatkarwadi. The migration is primarily triggered by lack of water availability, no employment, education, and healthcare facilities. And topic justification. Hatkarwadi is a village in Shirodka Taluka in Bid district of Maharashtra state. It is located 325 kilometers from the state capital Mumbai. Hatkarwadi is a speck on the map of Bid where more than a million people have been hit by drought. Here, most problems are some way or other connected to water and its availability. Because there is no water, there is no irrigation, which leads to unemployment and people abandoning homes and living as water refugees. It is evident that if this water crisis is dealt with a rational approach, it will further simplify the issues to solve. Here, a brief overview of the problems in Hatkarwadi is illustrated. Aim. The primary aim of this project is to rejuvenate the village by curbing the ongoing migration and lack of water with that architecture which can not only conserve water but also provide potential opportunities for healthcare and education infrastructure, and at the same time trigger employment which can be generated by farming and workshop spaces. The objectives are stated below. Scopes and limitations. The scope lies in studying the settlement of Hatkarwadi, analyzing its demographics and present situation with regards to education and healthcare, to try and arrive at a multifaceted architecture that can not only tackle with the issues that come up, but also keep in mind the aspects of community involvement and sustainability. Although in real life scenario, a real-time procedure has to be followed to locate the potential water sources with the means of piezometer survey, here we don't have the means to do the same. However, an informed guess has to be taken to the best of what is possible by referring to the current well locations, the site survey, and where the potential water resources are found. Here, a table is given acknowledging all the challenges and the solutions to the challenges which Hatkarwadi presents. A public survey was conducted to understand the views of fellow individuals on water conservation and drought conditions. It is observed that a large number of people know about the water scarcity in Maharashtra but not in depth. Most of the individuals also agree to the fact that solving water crisis will in turn lead to reduction in migration. There was a positive response when asked if the traditional techniques like step wells, bowries and kunds can be re-engineered to conserve water in today's times. The literature study has been divided into four sub-chapters, which focused on the study of drought, groundwater and aquifer recharge, water conservation and building bylaws. Drought definitions. The meteorologist defined drought as a lack of precipitation, while the agriculturist defines it as a crop failure due to lack of soil moisture. The hydrologist defines drought as a reduced surface and groundwater level, and for the urban planners it is shortage of drinking water. So you can see that there are various different definitions of how a drought can be defined, and some of the commonly accepted and used of definitions are given below. Types of droughts. Droughts are classified into four major categories such as meteorological, agricultural, hydrological and socio-economic drought. The meteorological drought is usually defined as a precipitation deficiency from climatic normal over a specific period, while the agricultural drought occurs when there is insufficient soil moisture to meet the needs of a particular crop at a given stage. The agricultural drought is further categorized into timing of the rainfall deficiency in the southwest monsoon period and its impact according to the crops and their growth stages. It is mainly divided into three categories: the early season drought, the mid-season drought, and the late season drought. On the other hand, hydrological drought is defined by the departure of surface and subsurface water supplies from some average conditions at various points of time. The table here shows us natural climate variability and its various impacts with regards to economic, social, and environmental impacts. Drought management in Marathwada region. In this chapter, we look at the drought-prone areas in Marathwada region. Some of the initiatives taken by the government in the view of schemes which can help in tackling water scarcity and the issues which generate through drought conditions. Groundwater and aquifer recharge. Here also look at various groundwater and artificial recharge techniques, both natural and artificial. This slide shows how these techniques can be used in the context like Hakkarwadi. The present condition in Hakkarwadi only allows specific recharge methods to be used. A combination of artificial channel, recharge wells, injection methods can be used to efficiently recharge the ever depleting groundwater in Hakkarwadi. Here are some of the examples of how these techniques are implemented in a real life scenario. Water conservation architecture, stepwells of Gujarat. Gujarat is a state on the western coast of India with a coastline of 1,600 kilometers, most of which lies on the Kathiawar Peninsula, and it has a population of 60 million. It is the fifth largest Indian state by area and has ninth largest state by population. The construction of stepwells in arid and hot climate of Gujarat, which is very similar to Hakkarwadi, is an interesting example of the response of the people to adverse climatic and geographical conditions. These preserve and store water, the most essential precondition of life, as long and as fresh as possible, even during the hottest summer months. They have narrow stairs going down deep into the earth in order to expose as little surface as area as possible to the sun and provide large areas of shade in various stories and galleries. Distribution of stepwells in Gujarat. Innumerable stepwells are found all over Gujarat, as you can see in the map which is presented on the right. In the course of recent industrial development, many of the stepwells have lost their inherent function, which is water supply and storage, and are either deserted or in a broken down condition due to neglect and lack of interest of people living around. However, a large number of stepwells are still in use, especially by women who fetch water, wash clothes and utensils, or bathe in stepwells. These are observed, for example, in Kankite, Hampur, Visawada, Virpur, and also in Ahmedabad and some other places. The term stepwell itself indicates the basic features of architecture and function of this peculiar kind of well monument, which is to be found in some parts of India, but which received extraordinary monumentality and elaboration in Gujarat only. There are various types of stepwells. The most basic form of well monuments, the simple vertical well called kupa in Sanskrit or kua in Hindi or kuo in Gujarati. A kunda, also called a kunda in Gujarati, is an artificially built form which is square, octagonal and oblong. A kunda can be of various sizes. On the other side, a tadaka corresponds to Gujarati mean tadka or taldo and to Hindu term talab. It is a lake blocked with artificial built dam, profusely structured flights of stairs enable easy access to the water level. Function and use of a stepwell. The main function of a stepwell is to supply water. In Gujarat, where the climate is such that the water is available in plenty only for a few months during the whole year. During the rainy season, ponds, reservoirs, wells, and stepwells are the most important civic edifices. Artificially built ponds, pools, reservoirs, and tanks also cannot keep their water for a long period. Moreover, the water which they store becomes stale after a certain time. Wells and step wells, however, sunk deep into the earth and are not exposed to the sun and heat too much, and these becomes the only sources of water. This phenomenon can be considered in the context of Hatkarwadi, where you notice similar period of rain only a few months in the whole year. There are various types of step wells. They are primarily categorized on the basis of approach and movement in volume. The figure on the right shows how these step wells exhibit different spatial qualities. Bauri is a man-made pond with significant ornamental and architectural structure for conservation of water in ancient India. These wells are commonly found at the western region of India for irrigation and storage of water, mainly to cope with seasonal fluctuations. Abaneri near Jaipur has the largest step well of India named Chand Bauri. It is situated 95 kilometers away from Jaipur, and it is a fine example of architectural expertise. Chand Bauri has 13 stories with 3,500 steps. It is the deepest in the world. Atkarwadi is a village so imperceptible with its small population that it faces little or no effect of the building bylaws. However, it is important to acknowledge the bylaws during design. Hence, these laws are taken from the CGWB and are pertaining to Beed district as a whole. The case studies identified for this design topic are categorized on the basis of the challenges which Hatkarawadi faces today. These are availability of water, educational and healthcare facilities, and community engagement. Availability of water, Kannada. Arid areas have a significant problem with water supply due to the climate change and high water demand. More than 3,000 years ago, Persians started constructing tunnel systems called kanat for extracting the groundwater for agriculture. Kanats are artificial underground water channels up to 300 meters deep beneath the surface of the earth, which bring a continuous stream of water to Earth's surface for human, agricultural, and domestic use. The water emanating from kanats is not lifted to the surface but flows down through a channel way from one point of seepage as if a normal well has been flushed over on its side until the water is flowed from its aperture. Kanats are usually excavated where there is no surface water. There are various components of kanats, namely mother well, the kanat channel, and vertical shafts and kanat outlet. The mother well. The mother well is the main source of water for the kanat. The access staff permits the access to the kanat channel for construction and maintenance. The kanat channel is a water carrying channel, and the outlet is where the distribution happens, where we can have a network of dams, gates, and channels to distribute the water. Modern day kanats. A rainwater infiltration system can be applied with kanat system for making maximum infiltration in the times of intensive rain in desert or protect kanats from collapsing. Cenotes, Mexico. Cenote is a natural pit, a sinkhole resulting from the collapse of limestone and bedrock that exposes groundwater underneath. A vast majority of cenotes are located in the Yucatecan Peninsula. These areas have very porous and soft limestone soil, which, when collapsed by the action of rain and the current underground rivers, gives rise to the formation of cenotes. Cenotes are actually very much interlinked with the civilization. As the Chichen Itza in Mexico, you can see the cenotes were first found and then the civilization was built around it. Similarly, the Kankalitala Shaktipit in West Bengal has a cenote around which the temple is situated. It is said that the water is never dried up. This tells us about the interaction between the humans and water. Ranini Vav is a traditional structure intended to store water which also acts as a gathering space for travelers and the community. It exhibits less internal temperature, provides an inclusive space with security and good accessibility. Here we have a direct comparison between the potential site area of Hatkarwadi, its design program and climate, to the location, design program and climate of Rani Niva. This figure shows us the timeline of Rani Ni Vav towards the history of the events. Rani Ni Vav is categorized as a subsoil aquifer. The Rani Ni Vav is oriented on the east-west direction, with the well in the west and the entrance in the east. It measures up to 64 meters long, 20 meters wide, and 27 meters deep. It has four essential components: a staircase leading from the ground level to the underground basin, a multi-storied pillared pavilion, which can be used as a very good community space, a draw well at the end, and a large tank to store the surplus water from the well. The figurative art often depicts the spectrum of everyday life and activities of women. Although these inscriptions do not directly interfere with the build form, they add a certain sense of emotion to the space, which we now see is fading away in this modern time. The Earthquake Memorial or Smriti Van is envisaged as a rejuvenation of this landscape and as a tribute to the extraordinary resilience of the people and their acceptance of the calamity with great equanimity. The client's brief for memorial was planting 13,805 trees, each tree representing one victim. The vision of Prithvivan was recast as self-sustaining habitat, optimizing the watersheds to check dam reservoirs, which will nourish a mix of trees down the stream without any external dependency. The relevance to this research project include the aspects of regeneration, climatic factors, and multiple functionality. Here we again see the comparison between the Hadkarwadi context and the Smritivan context. Kutch's ecology, economy, culture, ritual, social structure, festivals, and struggle for survival all revolves around water and interlinked with water and interdependent on water. This is the master plan for Smritivan. The master plan envisages 81 reservoirs to collect the runoff from Bhujyodonga. This gives us the idea of the scale in Smritivan. Here we can see the section of the check dams through various contour levels on the Bhujyodonga. The reservoirs are made of gabions which are entirely without mortar and thus allow for arresting rainwater of the watershed, but also allow it to dissipate into ground slowly, thus allowing the root system of the trees to draw upon. Educational and healthcare facilities, Friendship Center in Bangladesh. Center serves and brings together some of the poorest of the poor in the country and by extension in the world. Friendship uses the facility for its training programs and will also rent out for meetings, trainings, conferences as an income generation. The users are mostly construction workers, maids, rag pickers, and NHS workers. The Friendship Center is essentially arranged in two blocks, the Ka block and the Kha block. Here we can see the spatial organization and the circulation. Retention ponds capture the directed storm water. These ponds provide two primary services. They retain the runoff before releasing. They release the water flow and frequencies similar to those that existed under natural conditions. Gando is a village of 3,000 inhabitants situated in the remote east of Burkina Faso. Most of the people are subsistence farmers with their livelihoods dependent on the harsh climate. There is virtually no rain between October and June, and the daytime temperatures can reach 45 degrees Celsius in the shade. The user age group is from 6 to 15 years. Circulation pathways on the raised springs surround each classroom. These are the structural components of the school. You can see three common materials which is used in the Yando Primary School. Community engagement becomes an important aspect of settlement rejuvenation. Some examples are Pani Foundation, UN Water Conservation Movement, and Varka Tower Project. Site analysis. Here you see the location of Hatkarwadi with respect to Maharashtra and India. Here you get a glance of Beed district showing various physiographical maps such as water level, hydrology and location of various wells in Beed district. The red dot is our site marked with respect to the district of Beed. Hatkarwadi consists of three prominent settlements, out of which settlement 1 and 2 are comparatively larger in scale and density. Settlement 1 and 2 are located approximately 1.5 kilometers away apart. The two major settlements are at least 2.3 kilometers away by road, hence it will be difficult to cater to both settlements at once through one single architectural entity. Hence, a site is selected between the two settlements and the potential is calculated. Here is the site scoring chart which can help us understand the positives and negatives of both the sites on base of various factors such as location, soil, potential beneficiaries, flexibility, proximity, connectivity and site geometry. The factors for selecting the site at settlement 2 majorly relies on population. The number of occupants and users in settlement 2 are considerably more than settlement 1 and proximity to the population. The site is at settlement 2 provides better proximity and access to the settlement as it is located on the periphery. It is observed that the certain segment has a persistent presence of deep soil, therefore increasing the chances to procure water, which is the need of the hour. Here we see various maps which shows various aspects of the site. This is the existing vegetation and site and what can be proposed as and when the design intervention happens. Here, the liter of Hatkarwadi is fed into Mahani. And the indicators help us understand which category it falls. We can infer from Mahoney data the various spatial aspects such as layout, spacing, air movement, size of wall openings, position of openings, walls, floors, roof, outdoor sleeping and rain protection. This is the site topography. These are the site sketches which depict various architectural entities and typologies which are present in Hatkarwadi village. There are different types of houses, stone houses, mud houses and brick houses which differ on the base of construction and usage. Here are some photographs of the mud houses which are used to store cattle. The user group can be primarily categorized into two groups, migrant population and permanent residences. The built environment endeavors to create an environment which reflects community interaction and engagement. While not overpowering the existing settlement, the design aims to provide spaces for everyday activities such as education sessions, self-help centers, and healthcare facilities. The thesis features another important element of water conservation and everyday community activity which involves majority of women in the village. Hence, the relationship between the user and the built environment becomes very important. The table on the right shows the number of permanent residents and migrant population. The figure over here shows the typology associated to various users and their subspaces. The area program is iterated by considering various case studies and design standards. The primary and secondary and tertiary activities have been identified on the basis of user relationship and their core functions. The areas are referred from case studies and inputs and are subjected to change. The site area is of 6,800 meters squares, which is 4.1 acres, out of which the total built-up area comes up to 2,200 square meters. The area reserved for farming activity and water conservation is equal to 4,680 square meters. The proximity charts of functions and their subspaces are in coherence with the area program. Finally, this is the bubble zoning diagram, which will further lead me into design. Thank you.